your outer shirt.
All right, everybody, welcome into the DLLS Cowboys podcast, where today we have a Cowboys breakout season loading, plus Tyler Guyton or Mazi Smith. Which guy is going to be the guy we need him to be out of those two? You tell me. The show starts. Meow. What's up, everybody? Welcome into that was a weird word. Welcome into the DLLS Cowboys podcast, where today my performance on this show is going to be dedicated to Jessica Simpson and Antonio Brown, just because I like to be balanced. We have a lot of things to get to, so we're not going to fiddle
They're
fart
both on the edge. What do you mean balanced? How you being balanced?
That is true.
Black man, white woman.
Oh, that's the balance you're talking about?
Black man, white woman.
They both, you know, they both on the same spectrum. I'm sorry.
Well, Jessica got a better butt.
She got what?
You don't think she got it?
No.
Has she lost some stuff? It doesn't matter. Hey, everybody, welcome. My name is Jeff. It's Cowboys Show. Next to me, former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holly.
Oh, Jesse Holly went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
Oh, she's been on a journey.
Where you been?
She's been on a journey. So y'all think AB got it?
No.
AB probably works
No.
better than Jessica Simpson does.
No, we're not doing this.
Next to Jesse is the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, Mr. Clarence Hill.
Oh, it's been a while. Hey.
Speaking of on the spectrum, I want to shout out to Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News. This is for you, Calvin Watkins. As I was driving in, he was giving me advice for the show. We were talking about ideas.
Okay, what does Calvin want to do today?
He said, y'all shouldn't eat on the show. That's unprofessional. Thanks for reading. Thanks for watching. We say thanks for watching. That was a Wendy's sponsor.
Yes.
And we ate on the show.
And it was a bet payoff.
One day we'll teach you how the business works.
And we will teach you about having personality and having fun and not just being a seam head.
Yeah, I love how you just threw a major shot at it. It was like, speaking of the spectrum.
That's my guy, man. It's my little brother. But he worked for the Dallas Morning News. They kind of stuck in the butt over there. You know, they kind of,
Get a little bit of this.
They tighten the butt over there. You can't do that. That's not professional. Let's have some fun, Joe.
Calvin, you have done nothing to deserve to ask the first question at every press conference.
Nothing.
Oh, I forgot. Sophia Vergara.
Ooh, now.
That's what I meant to dedicate the show to.
Now we're talking about.
What did he say?
Now we're talking. Now that's up your lane right there.
What's that mean?
Little thick Latina. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Little thick Latina.
First Cowboy question of the day, and this is inspired by our own show yesterday. I'm using our show for segments for our show.
That's good. That's good.
Yesterday we had Greg Ellis on.
Tar Heel legend. Third leading sack man in Cowboys history.
And also the leading sacker at North Carolina.
Better than Lawrence Taylor. Better than Julius Peppers.
And Julius Peppers.
And Julius Taylor.
And Robert Quinn.
I'm going to toot my horn a little bit.
Hey, sometimes you got to do
DeMarcus Ware has the most sacks in Cowboys history. Do you know who's second? We looked it up yesterday because I told my buddy Mitch we had a mandate, and I was like, yeah, Greg, I didn't realize third in Cowboys history, and I'm like, I know who first is. I don't know who second is, and we had to look it up.
Is it?
It's not Marshawn Kneeland. No, TC.
Come on, man.
He didn't even go to Notre Dame. So why'd you guess him? It's also not Maris Leafau.
Anthony Smith. No.
I mean, that was the sort of name I was kicking around.
Yeah, who would be?
It's Jeff Coat.
Oh,
Jim Jeffcoat can get to the quarterback, baby. Yeah, so the real truth is, these NFL stats is BS.
They didn't start sacks until 1982.
Because the man that should be atop that list, Harvey Martin.
Not better than DeMarcus Ware.
Didn't say that. See, you say conflated
You
conversation.
did say the man should be the top.
He should be at the top. He wouldn't be at the top. He doesn't have more sacks than DeMarcus Ware, even if they counted him.
DeMarcus Ware.
They didn't even throw the ball back then.
Why would you say
He had
that?
tackles for loss.
No. See y'all do. Y'all are
Forward
wrong.
backs came out in what, like 86?
Harvey Martin should be in the Hall of Fame. Should be in the Ring of Honor. He's also the single season sack leader, but they didn't count it.
Then it's not. He's not.
I know. I said because it's
he's
BS. How they counted sacks back then?
4. Is that ahead of DeMarcus Ware?
No.
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 Not even. No.
No. But he would be comfortably. No,
As
it's
a
not.
Cowboy?
Now do a single season. Do a single
Because
season.
he got some in Denver.
His single season is ahead of
I bet 114 might be ahead of
23 single season. That's the Cowboys record.
Allegedly.
Ain't no allegedly.
That would be the
I mean,
NFL
they're pulling that
record.
off and just
Yes,
right.
it would be.
But that's just they're writing letters to people who were at games. Like, how
Man,
many
don't do
sacks
that,
did he
man.
have?
See how y'all do Bob Hayes and man. Rest in peace. Harvey Martin's from Dallas. Went to East Texas State, now East Texas A&M, or
Yep.
Texas A&M Commerce, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Total or in Dallas? Oh,
I'm just telling you, don't do
What's
Harvey.
that? 3
Harvey
more?
Martin does not get the respect.
Oh, okay. So he's
Harvey
still
Martin
champ.
does not get the respect.
Oh, so he had 3 more even
In
total
Dallas.
in Dallas by itself.
Yeah,
So we
he's
ain't
champ.
counting- we ain't
yeah.
counting
But
Denver.
I'm talking about that 23 in one season, dude.
That's- yeah.
Come on.
No disrespect, D. We're
I
not in front of
mean,
me.
we're talking about a Super Bowl MVP.
I'm talking
Harvey
about
Martin.
Troy University. I'm talking about head.
We're talking about Texas
smooth as a
A&M.
cue ball.
We're talking about Texas A&M Commerce. Listen, I love DeMarcus Ware,
Mm.
but Harvey Martin does not get the respect. You go back to Tex Ram, he should be in the Ring of Honor. And Jerry don't put some of the old Cowboys in the Ring of Honor. He should be in the Ring of Honor for Tutal Jones. I can go down the whole list of guys that don't get the respect they deserve.
Jerry's going to put in Jalen Smith and anybody else who signed a team-friendly contract. Well, that wasn't even team-friendly.
Shout out to the late Harvey Martin, man.
Indeed. Okay, but anyway, the question I was going to ask you guys is based on yesterday's show because Greg Ellis was in here, and you should go back and watch it if you haven't because it's awesome. He was great.
He was.
So former Cowboy player, former Tar Heel.
Don't say that with your. Go ahead.
I just
Don't roll
I know
your
how to
eyes.
jam
though.
it in there.
Don't roll your eyes.
They
though.
play football in Carolina?
Here we go.
The most important part is he was an assistant defensive line coach for the Cowboys last year. So if you're going to ask somebody about defensive linemen on the Cowboys or
Right.
players on the Cowboys, good guy to ask. And he had some different things to say about a couple of guys that are going to have a lot of eyes on him this year. Tyler Guyton, going into his second year, hopefully your left tackle, first-round pick. And Mazi Smith, third year, first-round pick. Which one of those guys is more likely to be the guy we need them to be? Guyton or Mazi? And you can say neither, but then you have to put one above the other still.
Well, according to what, and I thought Greg laid this out really well. Mazi is asked to do things in the scheme that he's in now that just aren't in his wheelhouse. Like Greg Ellis talked about yesterday. He said, they're asking Mazi Smith and other defensive coordinators and coaches have asked Mazi Smith to be a straight ahead, beat a guy up the field, like your Aaron Donald did back in the day, where it's like, you know what, hey, go straight ahead, beat him with speed, beat him with, with moves and stuff like that. And that's just not in his wheelhouse. That's not we know that Mazi is kind of a guy who's laid off the ball.
What's in his wheelhouse?
Who does power, right? Maybe.
He's a strong person.
That's what Greg said. Greg said he's the
yeah.
kind of guy that if he can get his hands on you and extend that, he can move men. But when you're asking him just to do certain things, that it's just not in his wheelhouse, and that'll always have him being on the bad side of productivity. Well, he'll have moments where he flashed, and he did that last year under the system that they were coaching under. But they're getting back to what he's not really good at, and you're saying go out there and be really good at something that you're not really good at. You weren't good at this in college. You weren't really good at this in the league, and so if from those things alone, I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, at least they're not asking Tyler Guyton to do things that are out of his wheelhouse, right? Like so I would say if we had to pick from one of the two, from the information that Greg gave us yesterday, I'm saying that. And I don't say this confidently.
I
don't say it confidently, but maybe it's Tyler Guyton.
Because you're on record saying that playing football is out of Tyler Guyton's wheelhouse.
Okay.
He's on record saying that, isn't he?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. Exactly.
You said out of his wheelhouse and playing the game well. That's what you said.
I'm just saying.
Jesse.
He can't respond to most of what you said because he was busy in his phone chatting while we're doing a segment.
With the people.
With the people. We are the people. We're the show.
I would listen. That's why I could pick up what he was talking about. I could pick up what he was putting down.
What did he say?
And so this is one thing why I get frustrated in off season. And, I used to have fun with Joe. Just because they said it don't make it so, okay? Because I have asked every offseason, every coach, defensive line coach, defensive coordinator coach about Mazi and the scheme. And
boy, this one fits him perfect. This is it. This is the perfect one for him now. It fits him
perfect. So his rookie year, he's in the Quinn. They asked him to go upfield, okay?
Yep.
They knew in the draft, well, he has some pass rush ability. We're going to tap into that.
And he sure didn't.
That's not what he did in Michigan, right? Then last year, when Zimmer came in, well, Mazi's going to be right because we asked him to do things he did in college, okay?
Now we're going to hold the point and react.
Hold the point, react. That's what he does best, okay?
And he had to their credit,
it was better.
He was
bad.
He was bad.
Better than the rookie Mazi.
Right.
Better
he was
than
the
rookie.
worst he tackled football last year.
And so this offseason, I talk to the coaches and as to Mazi, and they're asking to go upfield again, okay? And I asked defense coordinator, asked the defensive line coach about Mazi, about his ability to get upfield. They said, no, this is going to be right for him. He can do this, and this is you're going to see a different Mazi. What they supposed to say? What are they going to say?
Which is why we had the perfect guest on, a guy who had coached them who no longer has ties.
So what I'm saying is when you hear these platitudes about coaches, about players in all season, they're not going to dump on them, okay?
But was also a visual indictment of kind of what you're saying about coaches saying one thing about a player and not dumping on them. And then the visual indictment for me was that the Cowboys had put out a video, like a hype video. And I get it. The people who are putting out and making these videos.
I love what you texted after you saw it.
Yeah. It's like and like we love to hear the behind the scenes and the energy from the coaches. And most people won't notice it. Like most casual fans won't know what they're actually looking at. They're just hearing a coach with passion and yelling. You're like, all right, I'm behind it. I'm for it. And I text a group of meetings. I was like, oh, this is bad. The coach is praising and allowing Mazi to do things that will regularly get him destroyed on the football field. And it was just okay because you competed.
And at the NFL Combine, this drill, they would have stopped him and sent him back and started the drill over.
Right. And it was like
the hoop drill. You're just running in a circle, and you go down and pick up a towel as you're running, and some people have you put it back down on the other end.
Right.
It's because the point is to tighten that circle by bending
and staying low.
And he just ran a circle.
And Mazi's standing straight up, and you see him kind of get stuck, and that's usually what happens when you're standing straight up and you're trying to turn a corner at high speeds. But this is what literally happens to him in the game. He comes off the ball and he's standing straight up. Right. And now a guard or a center is like, oh, you're standing straight up.
Give me your chest, huh?
Appreciate you. Thank you. Now I'll move you. And that's how you lose leverage. That's how you get knocked into linebackers. And now what should have been maybe a no gain at the line of scrimmage turns into a 7 to 8 yard, and the guy has to make the tackle 10 yards down the field. So, it's things like that I go, if the coach is saying one thing and he's like, this is fit perfectly, but you're coaching him this way, like you're allowing him to continue to build the same bad habits that we've seen over and over and over again. So, it's a difficult situation. It sucks that we have to choose between two individuals who play such a significant part and role in whether this team will have, because if you can't stop the run, we know how that's going to end.
Right.
And we've been looking for someone to stop the run up the middle. We know how that's going to end, especially when you get to that late November, December, January level of football. And if you cannot protect your blind side of the quarterback, we know how that is going to end and what that can do for what you want to do offensively. So it's unfortunate that things that we're looking at that have such glaring red flags are two positions and that we're looking at and we're saying, boy, this is going to be different.
And it goes back to our favorite movie. I wish he had more time.
I wish he had.
I wish we had more time because there's so much more we can go into this. Because Greg said something else.
Well, we have more time. We can just start the break right now and keep talking.
But he had something else, and I don't know if TC can get the quote about him talking about what the Cowboys could do. Or maybe
no, we're not going to ask a producer on the fly to guess at what you want from a previous day show, but you could recap what he said and then tell us why that matters, and we could do that next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast.
There you go.
Who wants to be in the kitchen, in the grocery store, walking up and down these aisles? No, you want to be outside enjoying the weather. And so while you're at the park, whether you're doing yoga, you could be doing having a picnic. You can get the groceries delivered right to your house. Meals already prepared for you. Everything that you need in those meals brought right to your crib by HelloFresh. It makes it easier to quick fit home meals into your schedule each and every week by curating delicious recipes like pasta puree, chicken Dijon, and pecan-crusted trout, as well as over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats. All you got to do is head on over to HelloFresh.com/Cowboys10FM. That's Cowboys with an S, 10FM. You go there now, get teen-free meals with the free item for life, 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals apply at discount on the first box. New subscribers only, various plans. Head over to HelloFresh.com today.
What time is it? HelloFresh. Shout out to our friends in Vegas. We want you to come to Vegas with us. We're taking a road trip to Las Vegas. Thanks to our friends with True Fan Travel. It's the ultimate fan experience. We want you to come with us to Vegas. The Cowboys are taking on the Raiders in November, and it's going to be on November 17th is the game. So we're going to be out there for the weekend. It's an all-inclusive trip for you. It includes a 3-night stay at a luxury Vegas resort, game tickets, VIP parties, exclusive events with the DLLS crew, that's us, and fellow diehard fans, and much more. You want to get in Club Pop for real?
Oh, the Lotion Lounge.
You want to step inside the Lotion Lounge? This is your opportunity. Come see how we do Vegas, baby. November 15th to 18th. We're going to have ourselves a time. Book it at truefantravel.com. It's the DLLS Cowboys podcast, and we were talking about, somebody asked, where can we see the Greg Ellis interview? We had him on yesterday, so all you have to do is, where you're watching right this second, is on youtube.com/@DLLS Sports, and you just go to yesterday's show.
Yep.
And he was on for the second half of the show and some overtime. But if you want Mazi Smith and Tyler Guyton, you want to go to the 4th segment. So you go to yesterday's show and go about 46 minutes into it.
Yeah, we just watch the whole thing.
So watch the whole thing. Watch the whole thing.
It's great.
I broke it down because I was trying to share yesterday about the 46, 47-minute mark. That's when we started talking about mental health. So I think it's a little bit before that.
Okay, we talked about Mazi and Guyton before. So check 30, 35 minutes into the show.
35 minutes for
Just
the show.
go to it and hit play. You'll enjoy
play the whole
all of
thing.
it.
It's a great show.
It's a great show.
Great show.
Yeah, and so you had more to add to Greg Ellis.
We're talking about the Mazi thing, and certainly we're talking about Tyler, and he talked about Tyler Guyton. He thinks he's going to have a breakout or can really live up to some of the expectations because he saw the work ethic. He saw immediately after the season when he was still with the Cowboys, when Greg was still with the Cowboys, Mazi was back there working out in the weight room in January. Tyler was back there working out in January. But regarding Mazi, something you talked about, the scheme, he just acknowledged that what they're asking him to do is not best for him. And he openly said, again, not unprompted, again, we did not lead the witness. He said the Cowboys might need to trade Mazi.
Which was crazy to me.
He said it might
just
need to
because
trade
he said it unprompted, like it just blindsided me because he's such a measured
Yes.
person. He's like, and maybe you got to trade him. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Right.
But he's right, because the way you're using them, you're not going to get the best out of him, okay? And maybe another team, he fits their skin, because it's about, and Jesse knows, we talked about the show, and fans get so crazy, well, he's a bust, he's a disappointment. Well, maybe you're not using him right. And I don't care, unless you're the elite of the elite, systems matter for players. There are players that can thrive in 3-4-4-3 scheme, off the ball. How you use them matters. Zone corners and man corners and receivers. It matters how you use them, okay? And to get to maximize their ability. And so Greg is saying maybe another team, Mazi, because Mazi has strength, he has a superpower. They're not using him right here. And maybe he can be used right somewhere else and the Cowboys can get something for him, because the way it's going here, it ain't gonna happen.
What worries me about hearing that from somebody who was in the building coaching these guys last year and anticipating what they're going to be asked to do this year, if Mazi can't play decent football, you're kind of sunk.
Unless Jay Toya.
Like, then you would be saying that I'm going to have a 7th-round rookie that is the nose tackle on my football team, and that seems wildly optimistic to me. Like, you can't afford for Mazi to be a nothing.
Or, and I've been having a little conversation with some beat writers about this, maybe you start 2-3 techniques, and everybody goes up. Maybe the scheme.
I mean, your 3 technique is already undersized in Osa. So if you're telling me I don't have a nose tackle, my 3 technique is undersized, the answer might be to put another small guy in.
Maybe you're starting
Teams
Thomas.
Teams are not going to call a pass play.
Maybe, yeah, I agree. Maybe you're starting Thomas in Osa. You know, maybe that's what you're doing.
It just goes into like the George Pickens part of the offseason
right now.
Stop everything. Steven's in the super chat for a club pop pop. We need a club pop pop.
Hey. Legends drop. Clarence Hill just
49.
Breaking news, you gotta hop in club pop pop.
Steven's in the super chat with a 50 bomb. Technically a $49.99 bomb.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Chill, I need the story of you being in The Rookie. Also, just want to say thank you to all of you for bringing awareness to mental health. Since watching this show, I've gotten help and have shown my son that it's okay to ask for help. Much love. Let's go, Steven! Let's go, Steven!
That's awesome. I appreciate that. And the great thing about it, even yesterday, we had a number of guys in the chat saying similar things.
Thank you.
You know, Joe, a lot of guys in the chat. And listen, we love football. We love to have fun. We're glad that you can escape from some of the stuff you deal with to listen to us act the fool sometimes. You know?
It's just you.
Just you.
It's
We're calm and measured.
Y'all don't act the fool.
No,
you.
never
Wow.
have.
See, you don't do good people like this.
I've been broadcasting for 16 years, and no one has ever said that I goof around.
That's a lie.
That is a lie.
What were you saying?
I'm glad I can't use the F word, but that's a lie.
What were you saying?
But going back to The Rookie, just to answer his question, because I put that on Twitter. I don't know if I talked about it on the show, because somebody said, what is something about you don't know? And, I got a little acting chops.
Yeah.
Got a SAG card. Yeah. So a lot of, back in the day when they did The Rookie, the movie about the baseball player.
SAG something.
SAG card.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Not SAG and pants.
That's what I meant.
I don't SAG. I'm not this. Anyway. Screen Actors Guild.
Okay,
you know
Joe
what I'm
Randall.
talking about.
Okay, Joe Randall.
I'm just saying.
Joe Randall.
He got arrested at the mall. He got kicked out of North Park.
Okay, Joe Randall.
You know about that. Anyway, The Rookie, he had his debut at the ballpark. And they were doing the movie, and all the baseball writers were out of town. And actually, they asked the football writers to pose as reporters in the movie.
Yep.
And so we're at the ballpark posing as reporters, me, Shireen, Goose, David Moore, a lot of Todd Archer, a lot of local football writers in the Rangers press box, and they're shooting us. And when he comes on the mound, and certainly I was eating popcorn.
Of course.
I was eating some snacks.
Snacking.
That sounds about right.
And so they put it in the movie. So they, we probably taped for an hour. I probably got a 2-second clip, but you can see me right there eating popcorn, watching the game.
That's nice.
As he's running on the field, and they're doing all this, talking about his showing his family.
That's nice.
I'm in The Rookie, man. I'm in The Rookie.
Brandon in the chat said, losing Joe took away the one guy who tried to preach positivity. Now it's 3 dudes who only focus on the negatives. I'd like to apologize for...
We keep it real over here, baby.
I would like to apologize for telling you what
truth.
the assistant defensive line coach said about a player he coached. That's my fault.
We gonna teach...
But anyway, well, I'm not that sorry.
We gonna teach
I'm not that sorry.
We're gonna teach young Joe. Pollyanna.
So yeah, that worries me about the Cowboys for a team that, like, they talked, I feel like the last 3 off seasons they've talked about, we're really going to focus on stopping the run and running the ball. And then I look at the decisions they've made on what they're doing to try to do that, and I'm like, for who, for what? Whoop-de-damn do. Because okay, we're going to stop the run. Right. What resources did we put into that? We went away schematically from what our starting nose tackle, who has not been good anyway, we went away from what gives him the best chance, and we drafted a 7th rounder at nose tackle. That's what we did to do that. All right, what did we do to run the ball better? We intentionally downgraded at veteran running back.
And
we didn't do anything to address if the rookie who wasn't very good last year at left tackle can't play. We didn't do anything to address that. And I'm just like, some of the stuff y'all say you're going to do, and then what you do. Doo-doo queen. What you do don't necessarily line up.
Did you say doo-doo queen?
I said what you do, and then that made me think of the doo-doo queen. But on the positive side of it, I really enjoyed that that's another person who, when asked about Tyler Guyton, said something about his habits and his work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Tyler Guyton was coming into the league, I had heard some things about doesn't necessarily handle adversity the best. Might rather just be like, well, let me get away from that. And now what you're getting from everyone around him is these things look good. And so there's your positivity, is I have some hope.
Right.
The tape he put out there last year is bad. Penalties, technique, all sorts of things. But to hear that a guy who has the physical tools is doing everything you would want, because to your point from a little bit ago, and this is with all due respect, to stay in the league, like Jesse Holley's got to have good habits and bust his ass.
Correct.
And that's true for most people, even at the level of the best of the best.
Right.
And there's some of them that are just so damn DNA talented. And it's just like, look, I'm here. But most people, even a late first round pick, show me how you work.
Yeah.
And to hear that Tyler Guyton works, let's go.
And to add on to that, you hear the conversation a lot about, you hear veteran guys tell younger guys, learn how to be a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And that encompasses so much other stuff than just on the field play. And sometimes it takes guys to come into the league, whether you have success or failure, to fully understand what that looks like. You go through a season and then you realize, I'll tell you this. My first year in the league in Cincinnati, I remember guys saying, I'm going to get a massage, I'm going to get this. And then I'm like, I'm not paying for all that extra nonsense that they paying for. And then you go through a season and you're like,
Massage.
oh, this is why they take that money and they'll say, yeah, I'll go pay, let's just use a ballpark number, $10,000 on massages for a year because I need it, or acupuncture or Pilates or this or that. Because
Pilates.
when you get through it, you go, oh, this is, I can't go at this rate much longer without some sort of level of help and recovery. And so that takes a while. That takes some time for guys to get it. And maybe he hit rock bottom and realized the way that I was going about my business was not going to get me the results that I want and that the team needs. And if changing your habits can do that, then great. Then that's phenomenal for him. Now you have to put what you did on the offseason, whether that's diet, whether that's training, whether that's all the things that come in professional, and now put that into use on the field, because that's where it's going to matter the most. So change habits are great. Now that changed the performance, because if it doesn't change the performance,
then we got to call Tyron.
we might have to.
Yeah. and Brandon, we're not being negative. We're being
don't
real.
care about
Clarence.
No, but there are people that act like,
That's fine.
would you keep it real? No, we're not. We're not rooting against Tyler Guyton, and we acknowledge, we ready to acknowledge that he's trying to do the right thing. We've talked about that, over and over again. And the thing I know about Guyton, he does care. He's heard what people have said. His family has heard what people have said. He does care. So the fact that he was out there working, right after the season was over, when everybody was on vacation, before the coaching staff was changed, while Greg and them were still working in the building, even though they were going a different direction, and they saw that tells you want a guy that cares.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah, and that gives you a chance. And he gets credit for that, because I think that what happens in pro sports for a lot of guys is it is absolutely, at least at that thing that you do, for a lot of these guys, it's the very first time you have failed or not been good enough.
Right.
Like Tyler Guyton, even if in a college game, like he gives up a sack or whatever, like Tyler Guyton, I promise there was no point in college where he was like, I can't do this.
He dominated
But you
Jared.
get to the NFL and you go, whoo.
He dominated Jared Verse in college.
Yeah.
That's one thing his dad, when they were at the church,
And like
he
Mazi Smith
dominated
too.
Jared
Like
Verse.
Mazi didn't make plays in the backfield, but Mazi never felt overpowered or overwhelmed or
Right.
like, I can't do this in college.
Right.
You get to the NFL and it's like, how you going to respond to this?
Child.
It's going to feel a little
It's
different.
men. It's real men.
So what you going to do?
Yeah.
What you going to do? Because this is the first time. And that's how you figure out how do guys respond to this. And we're about to find out. Coming up next, if you want positive, I got a new guy in Jeff Camp. I got a new breakout player for you on the Cowboys. Let's talk about that next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast.
This is the time of the year where flooring is important. People are coming over to the house for cookouts, for barbecues, if you have a pool, for pool parties, birthday. The summertime is when you open up your home to all the guests that come in. What you don't want them to walk into is trashy floors.
No.
You don't want them to walk in and you got
Musty.
creaky floors, musty floors.
Dusty.
Maybe you have cats. If you're like Clarence, you don't have cats anymore because he can't find the cat. He lost the cat. But maybe you had cats or dogs and they probably used the bathroom on the floor. Now it's in the floor and it smells. Well, EmpireToday.com is the people that you should reach out to. They can get you right. The first impression is always the one that lasts with people the most. When they walk into your home, they want to see these beautiful floors, these amazing floors. It doesn't matter whether it's laminate or carpet or vinyl or that good wood. Lay that wood on them. Head over to EmpireToday.com and get $350 off new flooring by simply using the promo code DLLS. Head over there today, get your floors right, and let people come on over and see the good floors that you got in your crib.
Yep, and once they come on over, maybe take them into the backyard across your brand new floors and then pop on your Shady Rays while you hang out in the yard a little bit.
Talk about, yeah.
You like to get outside and get your Shady Rays on. Well, I was so good at leaving them in the car when I'm going to do a Shady Ray spot that day, but I love my Shady Rays. I got the aviators with the purple reflective, polarized. Oh, they're nice. And I always like to highlight the best thing about Shady Rays because I've always been scared to spend money on sunglasses because you lose them. That's what I do. I lose them all the time.
And break them.
You break them, you lose them, and things like that. If that happens with your Shady Rays, guess what? They'll send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. That's what they're going to do. They're going to take care of you. So now, go get you a decent pair. And they're affordable too now. Let me make you think
Yeah, there
that
we
I'm
go.
telling you.
Yeah.
It costs a lot.
Yeah. There
Get
you
over
go.
to Shady Rays. Get 35% off your sunglasses. ShadyRays.com. Use the code DLLS35. It is a DLLS Cowboys podcast, and we have a human to talk about today, and it's because of an exclusive. There's an exclusive story on alldlls.com that Jesse Holley broke.
Yeah, come on, baby. Let's go. I'm outside.
It's Clarence Hill, the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys, who does a great job of asking the right questions to the right people to get the scoop for you. And you spoke to somebody in the locker room yesterday who is about to be in my my Tyler Guyton club, where I have hope. I have hope for the improvement, for the breakout, for all the different things because of words. But there's certain words that get me. There's certain ones that get me. And Sam Williams is the guy. Tell me about your conversation with Sam Williams, Clarence.
Skirt. I shouldn't have done that. I don't know.
I know.
He's trying to get away from that. But
and that was my lead to my story because it's like the Cavante Turpin incident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 91 miles an hour in the 70, riding dirty, gun, weed.
Yeah.
Who last did that? Sam Williams. And we remember the viral video that Jared told me, well, last time he was going 60 or 70, last time he was going 100. So he slowed down, he's improved, and he had weed in his car and a gun, all that stuff, which got him popped. Actually got him a 3-game suspension last year. Who knew? Because he was on injured reserve. Yeah. But the NFL kind of coincided the suspension while he was on injured reserve. But Sam is taking all that to heart. He missed last season with a torn ACL, and it was the first time football was taken away from him. And he had to be with himself, and football was an escape from all the issues in life. And he talked about cutting off friends and family, seeking a therapist, and he's ready to have a breakout season. Great time to have a breakout season because it's the final year of his contract, and it's time to get paid. Here's a guy who's a freakish athlete. Everything we thought about Donovan Ezeraku, we said about Sam, early in his career. He was so fast, the Cowboys made him a gunner on special teams,
which looked hilarious, but it worked
kind of down the field. But the things that caused him to drop in the draft in college, the off the field issues, immaturity issues, kind of failed him coming into the league. And even Osa Odigizio talked about Sam was a wild boy, when he got here. And I think we do have some audio. We got some audio of Sam talking to Sam and him speaking to some of these things.
The last year was supposed to be your year until you got the injury. I mean, you had the opportunity was there.
Mm-hmm. So I just feel like everything happens for a reason. With the injury, it showed me a lot about myself and the people I had around me. I let a lot of people go. I got into therapy. It's just a whole lot of things that I didn't realize because football was a distraction. I feel like in my life, like it blinded me from the outside world of football because I use football as an escape so much that when football was taken, I didn't have no escape.
Right.
So I kind of learned myself, learned the people around me, and like as a person, as a man, as a father, I feel like I developed into becoming a better all-around person.
What you mean you let people go? Who you let go?
I mean, you know, you got friends, family, you got people back home, you got people around and meet you in certain places. Right. So like, it's just like, you gotta realize like, the people in your life is kind of like what determines your future, I guess you could say.
Right.
Because I mean, you're hanging around people that don't believe in the same goal you got,
right.
You'll fall to that, you know what I mean? So I just had to remove a lot of things, not even just people, just things, situation, moments. Like I had to get all away from that. So I feel like the injury did me good. It did me more good than it did harm.
All right, we got to tell them anytime Clarence is talking to somebody, stop playing ping pong. Okay, a lot of ping pong going on.
That was ping pong going on, but you know,
you
get those moments, but those words. I mean,
good words.
Just let him talk. You know, just let him say it. You know, and so I said, how does that manifest itself? How do you turn it? He talked about the therapist gave him tools to cut people. You know, because it's one thing to say you're gonna cut people. How you do it? How does that? What does that look like? And he said, you know, he talking to a therapist helped me manage that and find a way to tell people no and to cut people off and move people from my life. And he thinks that's going to help him. And now he's focused. The main thing is the main thing. And he got all that out of his life. And again, he openly talked about the Jerry video of Jerry talking about him and making a joke about him maturing because he stopped recklessly driving at 100. Now he was only recklessly driving at 77 and a 40 when he hit an old woman. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, so you make a joke, that's my life. You know, and that's how y'all see me. And he talked about, I ain't had a speeding ticket since then. You know, it's just 2 years, which is not a lot. It's still on your record. You know, you see, you know. But that's a lot for him. You know, and you go back to, and also Dickinson talked about, you know, this guy's always had talent, but often for issues, what plagued him in college, he probably would have been a first-round pick, you know. But he got dropped in the draft, and the Cowboys took a chance on him, knowing he had those off-the-field issues. They did their homework, and he still came to the league and, you know, was failed by some of the same immaturity issues. So he's mature, more disciplined, and he's ready to have a breakout season. And say, listen, they got Dante Fowler back, and they signed Ezra Rocco.
Oh, it's the most loaded position group they had.
Loaded, and he said you can kind of get, because we talked about, you know, who could get lost. You know? And he said, listen, I'm focused. I ain't competing against nobody, but when I'm at my best, can't nobody mess with me.
Sure.
I love it. I love it.
Why you love it so much?
Because I think those are those are all of the right things for anybody that when they come into the league. First of all, he can play.
Yeah.
Like his first 2 years in the league, with the amount of snaps he played, the number of splash plays that he made is really good. Mm-hmm. How often he's either in the backfield or batting down a ball or forcing a fumble or recovering a fumble, making the splash plays in his limited opportunities, he did it. He just also did boneheaded stuff.
Right.
If you can take a player like that and hearing the things he's talking about, that's getting rid of the boneheadedness. There's things that normally, like now that I'm an old person, now that I'm 41, I can look back and when guys are 24, 25, and talking about things that I got around to at like 36, they're world changing. Once you realize that, oh, okay, a lot of the guys that come into the NFL, if you hear off the field immaturity stuff, a lot of times you're surrounded with folks that are not probably going to be beneficial to you going where you're trying to go if you're trying to be a professional.
Right.
And like to hear that you've whittled that down, and obviously the word therapist is great for me. I'm like, yay, go you. But, you know, the words about who you surround yourself kind of determines who you are and where you're going. And if you're not aligned with my goal, then we can't be a part of this. And, like, that just sounds like a dude that has matured. And I love that along with recognizing what it takes to get rid of the bad habits or the bad things about me or what makes people call me immature. Like, I'm driving too fast. I get penalties. I'm making stupid decisions on the football field. I got either attitude issues or anger, whatever. Right. And to work those things out, but then he snuck in one more towards the end. because I can't have you turn into. Brian brought us this morning and told a story about Irving Fryer where he was like, and John Gruden would go to him before the game, like, I don't need the preacher right now. Okay, I need somebody different today.
Right.
Like he
right.
can come back later.
Yeah.
Like I want you to mature, but I still need you to be a badass out there. I need you to be a dog out there.
Right.
And the fact that he threw in at the end, like, yeah, here's all the ways in which I've matured. I've bettered myself. I've realized mistakes that I've made, and what's going to free me up to be even better. Is he ended with, let me get the part about, I'm keeping the main thing. I focus on the areas that'll help me improve and get to my goal. And he mentioned I'm a dad, I'm more than a football player, all that. But he definitely threw in there my goal, which is to get that bag.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yes.
Don't forget.
Right.
I need you to ball.
Right.
I want you to feel better about life and be happy and confident and know that the place that you're headed is amazing. But don't forget to be a dog and go get this money.
Yeah. And it's important for the Cowboys to have that from him, because to your point, Sam, as an athlete, damn good player.
Yes.
Right. He has the size, the speed, the strength. But a lot of times, for every step that he took forward, he took 2 steps back.
Yep.
And I agree with you. I love to see the maturity transpire. I love to see the process of the growth of young men turn into mature, respectable men. And I'm always rooting for all players to get the bag. Right. That is, because this game is very short-lived and it takes away from you far more than you're willing to give. So at least you can leave this thing with a little bit of financial security when it's all said and done, because you're leaving less of a human physically when you're done. You just are. Yeah. You just are. I mean, every surgery that you get, every time they cut you open, they fix something, but it doesn't make you whole. It doesn't make you whole. It takes away from who you are. So to hear from Sam, and I want Sam to be successful, because if he is, it helps this team out significantly. Yeah. If Sam Williams can be back to where he was at, but we get to that point where we talk about it for guys like Revel. And guys, we talked about for guys like Michael Gallup and anybody that's coming off that ACL injury. How long does it take you to get back to a place of being top dog batting? Right. You know what I mean? Like, is he ready to get back to that, or will it need to be another year? Yeah,
and the thing about it is that him saying the right things, you got to show us. Right, it's like with Pickens. Pickens doing the right thing, but we always gonna like, okay, when that old Pickens gonna show up, right? And the same thing with Sam, yes, you're saying the right things. The difference to me in him is that he's showing you how he's changed. The steps he's making, because everybody says I'm gonna change, I'm matured, I'm doing things different, changing my body, changing my diet, but how does it manifest itself? Like I said, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to show that you're changed? And you're talking to Osa, he's seen it. And Sam talked about, hey, I cut people off. I got a therapist. It's one thing to say it and go and work hard. I'm going to work hard in the weight room and do all this stuff. It's one thing to do that, but it's one thing to work on the mental part of it, because that goes hand in hand with it. Because we all, it's like January 1st. How many of us said I'm going to be changed? I'm going to go to the weight room.
No, I don't do
I'm going to do this.
No, I don't do that.
And then
January 1st is a bad time scientifically for that. You're setting yourself up for a letdown.
We all have these goals, and we put our vision board out, and we're going to do this, and we're going to
I'm down to 220 pounds, baby.
Yes, you are.
Let's go.
Going to be 240 in October.
How many times we said we're going to do that, and we don't? And we start out.
That's why Sam got to cut people off. Just for that reason right there. For that very reason right there.
And we don't finish it off. So so good for him. And so again, you still got to show us. Yeah. And he's how good he played. He's never gonna get the Michael bag, but he's gonna get if he plays well, he's gonna get good money.
Now, you know what?
He's never gonna get the Michael bag.
30 sacks.
But that's a question that we have to have though. Does he get the bag here, somewhere else? Because now,
as long as he get a bag somewhere,
that's
it means he helped this team.
But the thing is that if we're talking about just bag talk, there's going to be a lot of bags that will be had in this next coming.
He can have it somewhere else.
Listen, those are good problems to have. If everybody played well enough to get paid, you can't afford to pay. That means the Cowboys had a good season. Okay, and so that's what you want. And just real quick before, and I talked about this. There's so much talk about Ezraku, but going back to scouting, and you're the scout. how does Sam's tools from college, because he tore up the SEC his last couple of years with sacks and all this stuff. How does his tools and his prospect, not the off the field stuff, but his physical tools compared to
comparable,
Ezra
but in very different ways, I guess. Like, I think they're similar in the fact that they both have a bunch of ability, but Sam was like a bigger, stronger, longer, and technically faster.
Right.
Whereas Ezraku is like Ezraku's more like a finished product. Like Ezraku, if it was week 7 and it's 3rd and 6 and you were playing against a division rival, he's one of my first 2 picks. If the job is just beat that guy somehow and get to that quarterback, Ezraku's got a bag of those.
Right.
He knows what he's doing rushing the passer. Right. Whereas Sam, you're like, MF's big and strong and fast and quick. Like, he was more toolsy, and Ezraku is more like, no, I can do this and combine them.
I'm just thinking of a NASCAR package with Micah and
Can
Sam.
we not call it that?
Okay, fine. Whatever you want to call it.
Or go fast.
Go fast package, you know.
Or go fast.
You got Fowler. I mean, you got people that can get to the quarterback quick.
All right, coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we do have Cowboy questions from the people, including the things we need to see at camp to give you confidence going into this season. What are yours in the chat? Please hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. If we don't get to 100 likes before the show, we all get fired. That's next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. And we want you to sign up to be a diehard. Was that a diehard level content today? The article on Sam Williams?
Yes.
It's an awesome article.
Yes,
It better be diehard level content.
It's diehard. It's definitely diehard. It's exclusive. I put that as the exclusive. Better say diehard. I keep that diehard, baby. It's for the diehard.
That's an exclusive. And so you need to sign up to be a diehard at alldlls.com. That way, you will have access to all of the content on our site. I think a lot of folks here are probably fans of all of the local sports teams. Now, we are the Cowboy Show. We get folks from everywhere because, it's the Cowboys, big brand. But a lot of folks, fans of all of your local DFW teams, you need to be a diehard because that way you have access to all of the content about all of your teams at all times, including now you get a free T-shirt when you sign up from our merch store, and they're great. You get that diehard card right there. That's a carrying card for diehards. Anytime you get pulled over, whip that thing out. There's a decent chance that the police are also a diehard. And they'd be like, I see you, buddy.
Would it matter in Allen?
Probably not. No, you're going to get a ticket in Allen.
Yeah.
I'd said in the Turpin thing when I did a little short video. I think I was wearing short pants at the time. Like, be careful in Collin County. Don't mess around. Don't ride dirty in Allen.
You don't have the complexion for the protection, my guy.
I'm glad you said it.
You'd have been safe for doing
glad he
77
said
than
it.
where you were doing 97. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're going to bring that down. Don't be double digits over, much less 97. But anyway, get your stuff together. Figure it out.
Get the likes up.
Die hard, or else get the likes up, or else, which of course is not a threat. All right, I said the words out loud, but I didn't prepare you guys for this, so I can go first if you want me to. Things you want to see at training camp to give you confidence for the season. Like something that you'd be like, ooh, yes.
For me, it's easy. It's absolutely easy. I want to see a consistent ability to block Micah Parsons from Tyler Guyton.
Oh, good. Come on, man. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Not happening.
I want to see that from Trent Williams.
Well,
He cut block.
I'm about to say.
Lane Johnson cut block.
Well, it's only a handful of guys that can do it
What
across
I mean
the
is,
league.
I want to see that there be he shouldn't be a turnstile.
Yeah.
Like, show us that there is a level of improvement because
He blocked him last year for 3 plays. We all lost our minds.
Let him block Sam Williams and Dante Fowler regularly.
no.
Let him try Ezraku first.
No.
Dominate Ezraku.
Because
Dominate the rookie.
Here's why. If you're giving Micah some days where he's having trouble getting around you, then I feel confident going into a game.
Yeah.
Because the ceiling is Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, those guys. You're not going to see anyone probably for a couple of weeks before you get to somebody on a
Get you some Peyton Turner reps, man.
You know what I mean?
No, he was highly
that's,
drafted.
That's false hope. I don't want the false hope. I don't want false hope because he goes out there and gets Peyton or a young kid, and y'all like, oh, look, he's right, he's good. And then we get to game day.
Yeah.
Jeff just wants to be serviceable, though. He don't want to be dominant.
Block Nealand. Block my
He just
run
want to be
defender.
serviceable.
No,
On a pass down.
He's going to run right into you. He's not going to go around you. He's going to run right into you.
The problem here is that we've seen people star in camp, and it was fool's gold.
Hey, this is Jalen Cropper's year.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling
we've
you.
seen
Let's go
cornerbacks.
I'm telling you.
You know, seatbelt was all the rage in camp. What your boy tell you about seatbelt last year?
I know. When I see you,
That goes back to what Jesse just said, though, about Guyton. From now on, you tell me what you did against Bland.
Okay.
right?
Like, I don't care against the, with all due respect, corners. And as a corner, you tell me what you did against Ceedee and Pickens.
Right.
Yes.
It does not matter to me what you did with
Don't tell me
Flournoy.
you broke up a pass against Cropper. I'm okay.
Hold on, Cropper's nasty now. He gonna get open.
Stop it, man.
He's
But
nasty.
I remember one year, a couple years in training camp, and I said, Cowboys didn't score no touchdowns in camp. Score no touchdowns in camp.
And they scored 100 in the first 2 weeks.
No, but they gave. I mean, but it wasn't because the defense was good. Because they had no receivers.
Oh yeah.
They was
Because
seeing a bunch of babies.
they also had the tall wide receiver. When Mike McCarthy told me, I asked a good question because normally I just sit there and shut up. I'm just out there to do radio. But I had questions. Everybody started talking about that real tall receiver. I forgot who he was. He was like 6'6".
Probably that dude from Tech.
Yes.
Probably
and at
do
the
from
press
Tech.
conference one morning, I was just like, Mike, the receiver that everybody's talking about, what special teams is a 6'6" guy going to play that's your fifth or sixth receiver? And he's like, that's a good question. I was like, okay, so he ain't going to make it. We're just talking about this. Okay. What is he going to do on special teams? If he's not a starting receiver, what's he doing?
Listen, one thing I used to always say, you know, I'm the old guy who likes to rain on everybody's parade.
I'm the old guy.
A great story does not make a great player. We got
Yeah,
a
but we
lot
can
of
still
great,
like it. We
a
can
lot
still
of
enjoy
great
the story.
stories in camp. Dennis Houston's and
Dennis Houston started week 1 of an NFL season.
Again, that tells you how bad the receiving corps was.
Yes.
Okay, great story, great underdog story. come
TJ
from nowhere.
Vasher. Thank you, C. Nix.
Yeah, that's him.
In the chat, it was
a great
TJ Vasher.
story does not, and all the media get all, oh, look at this story, look at this.
Yeah.
Can he play?
I kept
That's all I
accidentally
care
calling him
about.
Nathan.
I've been there 30 years. Can he
Did you
play?
remember Nathan
Oh,
Vasher?
Nathan Vasher.
He was a Texas.
Yeah, Texas
corner.
quarterback.
Yes.
Texarkana.
Yeah.
Texarkana
That's right.
Bears,
That's
yeah.
right. Jeff got that guy cut. I did not get that guy cut. I was asking the coach, like,
Jeff, you did it.
like, you think he can run down on kickoff? Can he be on the punt? Yeah.
Mike
He
was like,
like-
damn it, they saw it.
He was like, that's a good question.
Yeah, Mike was like, nah, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get it out of here now so we can stop asking.
Hey, real talk, they do have weekly meetings, if not nightly meetings.
Daily meetings.
Yeah, daily meetings, you know, on the roster, on personnel meetings, and see how these guys fit. I mean, they cut guys, they see what their roster looks like. So yeah,
Jesse told you about his experience where it's a coach who's like, well, hold on, if he's trying his best, is there somewhere we could get him here? How can we get him here? What can we do here? And I was just asking if you could get the guy somewhere.
yeah, you know, it's
He's like, no.
you know, and I want to get deeper into it one day, and we're gonna pass some stories one day. But
But do you have a guy at camp? Do you have a position guy at camp before you get to your question?
Something that would give you confidence in the season if you saw it at
I
camp.
want to see fans at camp. You know,
Oh, damn.
last year wasn't nobody at camp, man. It was like empty. I mean, are the fans gonna be excited again?
I mean, the secret is camp's not that exciting.
It's
Like,
never
NFL
been.
training camps have changed. They used to play more football.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
but the fans used
Now
to be
you're
out
basically
there in
there hoping to
droves.
wait for the one-on-ones and
Be
hope it's on
some-
the field in front of you.
Be some empty practice. There was some empty practices last year, and you know, I want to see some fans back at camp. Man.
I think fans had the level of apathy had kind of.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
sure.
say it was some apathy last
It
year.
was- it
Is that
was-
apathy
it was-
gonna bleed into this year?
Yes, because I think there maybe, I don't know what percentage it is, but some of it is you also now have established NFL football teams in LA down the street that you can also go to their camp.
You know, and as far as players, it's really hard to get excited about players because it's Greg talked about. They're really not tackling. You know, the running backs. How can you really get a feel for the running backs? Because they're not taking them to the
Can't.
ground. They're not tackling. You don't know if they're breaking tackle. What's real? Maybe the cornerbacks. You know, obviously cornerbacks, Elam, those guys. I want to see what those cornerbacks look like against this receiving core with CD and Pickens.
And those, at least you get enough
Yeah.
of like one-on-one and 7-on-7.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see them having to
But
do their
it-
job. Running
yeah.
back's impossible.
It's
We're not
hard.
tackling.
Yeah, it's hard to judge running backs.
Yeah.
And the running back is so important. The running game is so important to what they want to do this year. How can you judge it? How can you judge the ability to stop the run?
My top one was the same as Jesse's, just worded differently. As I said, I need to see Tyler Guyton look like he could play NFL football.
Seatbelt. I want to see seatbelt.
I said someone not named Bland ready to kick butt at corner.
Oh, look, we're on the same
See?
page. We're on
Yeah,
the same page.
yeah.
I said Elam. I said the same
Yeah,
way out
yeah,
at
yeah.
corner.
And I think even honestly, even beyond Elam, because I think you have to have at least one more, and I don't know who it is.
That's a stretch, my guy.
And I don't know
Like,
who it
you're-
is.
Like it's Bland, it's seatbelt, Elam, and then everything after that is.
Well, yeah, okay, I guess seatbelt. It just flew right past me when you said it, but yeah. If all of them can play, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I know Deron Bland can play.
So
Elam is a reclamation project that everybody is saying good things, and so I've got some hope for that. Carson, I'm trying not to hold the recent stuff too much against him because I really liked him in college. I liked him in camp, and then we played some NFL football and went, uh-oh.
and that's funny because it better be funny. So I was
you're
messing
saying
with
it
Calvin as we were talking. I was talking to Calvin Dallas Morning News yesterday about cornerbacks.
Y'all was talking a lot. How long was that conversation?
It was different conversation. We talked several times. That's my little brother. That's my little brother. So we talk a lot. But we were talking about cornerbacks, and I said, "Yeah, seatbelt is an option." He said, "Who's seatbelt?" And so I put it on Twitter. Cowboys beat writer who get the first question don't even know who seatbelt is, right?
Yeah.
I said, I'm gonna put this on Twitter.
Get him.
Said I'm gonna put this on Twitter. He don't even know who seatbelt is. And he said, "Well, he don't make no plays. He have a nickname. That's not the point."
He didn't
And that's a good point.
And
that's a good point.
And the really funny thing is, Brad Shell came off the top rope and basically said the same thing.
Oh,
Brad
Torque.
Shell
You know,
was
Brad
good.
don't talk about nobody.
He'll talk about your work ethic.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
He will
about
judge
work
you for not
ethic.
knowing
But
some
it wasn't
stuff.
about work ethic. He was talking about seatbelt and don't deserve it. He was talking about seatbelt,
Oh,
don't
well,
deserve
yeah,
a
he'll tear down a
nickname.
player that is getting accolades that he doesn't think deserves it for
I
sure.
mean,
Especially as he continues to grow.
A lot of fans and I'm like, a lot of fans who all accuse me of being negative, they start ripping him. He don't deserve a nickname and he ain't done nothing. He was awful. I'm like, where's this positivity from this fan base? And then Brad Sam chimed in with similar talk. I'm like, that's crazy.
I judge things on Super Bowls. None of these dudes deserve a nickname.
Damn.
None
But
of
he
them.
had it's his Twitter handle. It's his nickname from college. So we called him Seatbelt. We know his Seatbelt because that's what they called him. That's what they called him.
They strapped him on that bench and didn't let him.
I also said I need to see the linebackers not look like a weak link. Because I know your guy.
Jack.
Has you ever even seen him bleeding from his forehead or his nose, or you just assume because he's a white linebacker that he does that?
I know his nose got the whatchamacallit on
You
it.
think it has a bump on it?
It does.
It does?
Yeah.
Seen it?
Yeah. I seen it.
Okay.
Looked it up. That's the bump.
Because, I mean, I know who we
Are you
talk.
profiling again?
Yes.
Yes.
But we do it in lighthearted, fun ways, you know?
Well,
We're the home of casual fun racism.
yeah.
DLLS Cowboys podcast.
What?
Yeah.
But the linebackers, like, I don't going into this offseason and even after they made the moves they made, I still didn't know. I'm like, every day when somebody's going out to OTAs or minicamp or whatever, I'm like, can you tell me who are the linebackers? Because I guess in my mind, I was thinking Leofau will be one of them. You know, second year, he played a decent amount last year. And it was like, no, it's Murray and Sanborn. And I'm like, okay. Guy who got $7 in free agency and a guy who for a half decade has been one of the worst run defending linebackers in the entire league. And okay, that's what we got.
$7 million though, again, $7 million.
Their biggest issue is going to be what we talked about in the two previous segments ago. Can somebody up front keep the fat boys off of the linebacker?
But that's not
And the
their
answer
job.
looks
They're
like it's no.
going upfield. Their job is not to hold up anybody. They're not
I
asking them to
can't
do
on
that.
every down be just go, go, go.
like,
At
you
some
got-
point, we got to have some gaps.
Yeah.
You got to have a gap.
11 man to the ball. All 11 is responsible.
You know what? I support that. Team chaos. Just like, look, guys, here's the thing. If you're in the front 4 front and 2 linebacker, y'all run like hell. Y'all see where they went to and go somewhere else and see what happens.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, you see the 4 guys go. You see where the gaps are. Figure it out.
That's funny. Our RWCs call them car seat.
Okay.
But y'all dirty, man.
crazy.
Y'all dirty.
Austin, sometimes that $7 meal is better than a $20 meal. Only for one season, though.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Just because you're on a budget.
Get that 5 for 5.
I'm a Sanborn believer. I think he can play a little bit.
I don't think so.
I think he can play a little bit.
No, you don't sound confident when his name
No,
comes up.
I just get surprised when I get happy about something. I'm like, oh, I like that addition. And then somebody else is way happier. And I'm like, oh, dang.
Because I'm happier about the white guy?
That throws me off.
Why? Is that?
I'm like, because I kind of liked him. Like, hey, maybe he could be a starter because he's never really been that. And now he just is a starter. And you're like, and he's a beast. I'm like, dang, you done took I thought I was going to have a guy.
No,
And you went up.
no, yeah. Come on.
I thought I was going to have a. But then you went up to. And so now I feel like I got to hate.
Now you got to hate him? Now you got to bring him. My excitement, you got to bring him back
Well, I
down.
got to balance. I got to balance it out. I mean, it's Jack Sanborn.
Hey, Jesse can't be that excited about this dude. Let's bring him back down. Him and Jesse got to come on back down a
Because I
little.
feel like you're setting my guy up for failure by taking him too far up. I'm like, look, nice role player. And you got him doing too
Man.
much.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
And Jeremy said I saw him play a bit in Chicago. Could have definitely done worse. Yeah, and I didn't even mention the running backs today because I'm just tired of it. But like every single national media person who writes about the Cowboys is like, I can't believe they downgraded a running back on purpose. That's weird, right?
Is it? Who didn't they call?
Rico.
Let's
Thank you guys. They can call anybody. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. What is today? Do we
Derek
have a show
Henry!
tomorrow? All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow, I think, depending what day of the week it is right now.
Next Thursday.
Yep. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.
We all silly like the mayor.